Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet, get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim, live in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin on the Minnesota border. Here to talk a little Packers this evening. Excited to be with all of you guys and gals out there. As we're gonna do a little mock drafting. We're gonna do it in a different manner. We had a listener actually ask us to see what it would look like. Like, let's show everyone what it would look like if we were to trade up to that 16 spot that we had showed. There were a couple of reports that the Packers and several other teams at least called the Seahawks about the 16th pick. So we're gonna kind of do that tonight, and then we got some other stuff we can hit on too if we have time to do that. But just around the horn here real quick. Tim, how was your day, bub?
Great, man. Happy to be here. Beautiful day in Green Bay. I think we're done with the snow finally. So,
Nice.
it's beautiful, man. Got outside, got a hike in today. Jacob's favorite activity, little hiking in the woods. It was nice.
Nice. Jacob,
Yeah.
how you today, buddy?
I kind of did the exact same thing Tim did. I actually took the dog out, went to the woods. It was 80 degrees here in Hudson. I don't know if it got that hot over there, but I couldn't believe it. And I looked, I heard I listened to your podcast this morning, Clay. I'm sorry, I slept in today. I usually don't do that, but I pulled an Emilio, and I listened to the podcast, and you said that we might have to worry about a Wisconsin snow still this year. I just don't think this year is going to happen, man. It's been the weirdest Wisconsin winter that I've ever been a part of.
That's great news then, right? No more snow, man. Jump right into spring, right? AFM says he knows exactly what you did today. He said, I heard Jacob might be late. Jacob Beard might be late. He's trying out to be a P90X backup dancer. So there you go, man. P90X.
I don't remember. Is that the guys that are behind him doing the same moves?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Remind me to, if you guys haven't checked it out, there's a cowboy hip hop workout. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's an old lady from like the 1990s. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'll have to get that clip, maybe share it on here next time.
I figured it might be Cowboy Troy out there laying it down. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute since we heard that name, but I'll see a Reef in the chat said, hey, PTA, just watched the morning show. It was a good explanation of how you go about things in the draft room. Glad you enjoyed it, man. I figured since the guys wasn't on here, we could kind of dive a little deeper into something where when we've got multiple hosts, I don't want to just have a topic where I need to explain something for 30 straight minutes. You guys are just sitting there like, what the heck am I even doing on here right now? So that was a good show to try to do that. So it was a lot of fun, and I need that stuff to just kind of refresh my memory and take a walk through certain scenarios and how things are going to fall. We're going to continue that talk too. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to the whole thing earlier today. I'm sure you were busy, but we basically went through and kind of looked at some of the top players that each draft pick that within our mock drafts that we had done over and over and over. Some people think, they're just trying to fill time doing mock drafts. It's not that. We're trying to compile information so we can kind of get an idea of, all right, what prospects do we think will realistically be there at each pick and get a broad net that you can cast out there on, right? So basically what we did was we kind of came down with Kool-Aid McKinstry. This is for the 25 spot, the 25th pick there. We had Cooper DeJean, and we kind of compared all these guys. Amarius Mims was one that I would be okay with at 25. Byron Murphy at 25, obviously grading out to 91, was one as well. Then we had Johnny Newton, defensive lineman there out of Illinois, also known as Jerzon Newton. And then we have Jackson Powers Johnson. All of those picks, I would be like over the moon if one of those 6 guys were our 25th pick. If you had to choose between those, who kind of catches your attention there? I'll start with you, Jacob. Again, it was Kool-Aid, Cooper DeJean, Amarius Mims, Byron Murphy, Johnny Newton, and Powers Johnson.
Honestly, my guy is still JPJ. I like his versatility. I think that as I've listened to more and more stuff, it seems like more teams are starting to figure out that they need offensive line help. And if he is one of those guys that can maybe be a little bit versatile, we've seen he can play at right guard. I definitely like that about him. He can play at center. What are our two biggest issues right now? Right guard and center. And if he's one of those guys that's a plug and play, and you can have him on your team for 8-10 years, to me, that seems like the no-brainer. I mean, look at that. He's got no bad games. Worst game is a 61. Other than that, he's got no bad. And that's not even a bad game, really. That's like
right. Yeah. And like you pointed out, 2022 played right guard 350 snaps, then 829, all 829 snaps of 2023 at center. You could literally plug him right into right guard. But you got Myers for one more season. If you decide to not extend Myers, then you just kick him over to center, draft you a guard, and you're off to the races, right? That's a really cool kind of backup plan, along with filling a starting role there too. Tim, which one of those kind of grabs your attention there, man? Kool-Aid, Cooper DeJean, Amarius Mims, Byron Murphy, Johnny Newton, or Powers Johnson? If you had to choose from one of those 6 guys.
Love all of these dudes, but I got to go with Jacob on this one. I think, yeah, JPJ is the move. It's the move there for sure. I mean, I know the Cooper DeJean fans are gonna, whatever it is. Is it Dejan? Whatever.
This is the time of the year. This is the time of the draft coverage, Tim, where everybody has a pissing contest on trying to pronounce names. So.
Yeah. I'll just call him the Great White Hope in the secondary. Cooper DeJean. Yeah. So no, but JPJ, man, that's the move. That's the move. I really believe if he's there at 25, that would be nice to take him. Shore up this offensive line and move forward. I mean, I like Kool-Aid too. I've said that numerous times. I'm not concerned about his foot injury. I think he can perform, but I think the better pick there is JPJ for sure.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely Kool-Aid. That would be my pick here. Obviously, I want to point this out with your guys, JPJ. That zone grade, guys, 83.8. My goodness. And then on top of that, the true pass block grade of 87.1. Whew, that's solid. I would not be upset about that at all. For me, though, Kool-Aid, 67.9, 82.5, 88.8. Go ahead and get that outside corner opposite Jair Alexander. That's taken care of. You don't even have to think about picking up that $12 million fifth-year option for Eric Stokes. You're kind of set at corner. If something were to go awry and Jair does end up leaving the Packers, then you've got someone there to kind of, fill that gap that it could potentially leave. I know some people still think there might be issues there. I hope it's behind us, obviously. So, I agree. Badger Trio says Kool-Aid be gone, I think. I think he will too. But, again, these are just based off of the mocks we did. That's the one that grabs my attention the most. I think I would pick Cooper DeJean over Amarius Mims, personally, just because of the versatility. And I'm kind of looking at that 2022 grade of 88.5. Like, man, that would be if that's the guy you're getting, that one that graded out 88.5 as opposed to a 77.4. Give me that all day. I also looked up his passer rating when targeted, and it was like a 34. So really impressive. And I think Tyler Nubin's was 36. So you couldn't go wrong with Cooper DeJean there as well. But I think if I put them in order for me, like a little mini draft board for those potential 25th picks, it would be Kool-Aid first, Byron Murphy second, Johnny Newton third, Powers Johnson fourth, Cooper DeJean fifth, Amarius Mims sixth. It's kind of the order I would go in. So.
Can you bring up Mims's thing real quick?
Mm-hmm.
See, that just I don't know, man.
I'm not a big fan, man.
I'm just a little nervous, about it. You look at that zone grade. You look at some of his games. I mean, 8 starts last year. 7 starts, whatever it was. I don't know. I know that we need the offensive lineman talent. I just feel like there's other guys that'd be a much more. I mean, he's a freak of nature as far as like his size and all that kind of stuff, his ability. But in my head, I'm thinking like I just want a guy that's a little more true and tested. I mean, but to be fair, he's a tackle at Georgia. He's going against probably the best talent we got. So.
Right. And even worse than that, man, I don't mean to dog on it, but like when you look at the predicted picks, Tyler Guyton's the number 1 predicted pick, like to say, okay, this is the guy that fits the thresholds. This is probably the one that's most likely to be drafted. He graded out in the 60s across the board for the last 3 years. I was just like, I don't know about this, man. And again, PFF isn't everything, but like when you look at the other options, if you look up and you go, okay, these guys are pretty much tied. All right, let's let PFF be the tiebreaker as opposed to just leaning on PFF. You feel a little different about it. But I'm just not a big Tyler Guyton fan as it sits right now. So let's move on to 41 real quick. These are the three that I would be over the moon with at 41. Obviously, you guys have heard of him, Tyler Nubin, right? So 72, 76, 89 were the PFF grades there. I told you his passer rating when targeted. Right here, they're showing passer rating allowed 39.6. I think SIS was showing 36, but again, you're kind of splitting hairs there. He broke the school record for most interceptions, if I remember correctly. Last year, that 89.2, just a solid grade. Obviously, he can play deep. He can play in the box. He can play in the slot a little bit too, but he's going to be kind of that box safety. Big guy, that 6'2" frame, all that good stuff. The second one would be Junior Colson, okay, linebacker out of Michigan. 48, that's Cheeks, obviously. Then he jumped to a 75, then jumped to an 81. You could see it just start to click right there. I think he would be a phenomenal addition there as a mock linebacker. Run defense grade of 80, coverage grade of 83.4. The only thing that really drags his grade down at all is a pass rush grade. And again, with him playing mock, you're not going to be firing him unless you're doing a little double mug, that type of look occasionally. And in that case, you're just trying to free up a body. You're not looking for pass rush moves. It's more or less, run a little stunt with the D tackles and free up a gap, a lane for the mock to blitz. And then that third one, Mr. Enos Rakestraw Jr.
Oh,
59, 77. And then last year, an 80.7. Run defense grade of 89.0. His zone coverage grade, 85.2. Now, obviously, man coverage down a touch, 56.6. That's the thing he'd have to work on. Again, a little bit of versatility. You got 337 snaps on the corner. You've also got 104 in the slot. I will be totally fine with Enos Rakestraw Jr. at number 41 as well. So out of those three, Tyler Nubin, Junior Colson, and Enos Rakestraw Jr., Tim, I think I know who your pick is here, my man. But what do you think about all three of those? Are there any of those three that you disagree with, I should say?
Absolutely not. I'd be happy to have any of those guys. But obviously I'm going to go at Rakestraw Jr. first. That's my I guess I'll say it. That's my draft crush, right? It's not a secret. I don't know who's crushing on who harder, me and Rakestraw or you and Tyler Nubin. So, yeah, I'm going with Rakestraw Jr. for sure. But, no, I'd be excited if Junior Colson was a Packer too. I mean, like you said, there's some things to shore up there, but you see a guy who's gotten better progressively every year and coming into this new Hafley led defense, I think he would be a really good pick as well. So I got no complaints there with any of these guys.
Got it. What about you, Jacob? Any of those three you disagree with, or who is your favorite there out of Nubin, Colson, and Rakestraw?
I like all those picks.
Who would your pick be then?
I think I'd go Colson. Just simply because, like I said, it was probably Dane Brugler's draft analysis that kind of sealed it home for me. He highlighted that he is the youngest middle linebacker, the true linebacker in this grade or in this draft class, and the fact that he's still one of those guys, and I don't know why the Packers love him, but he didn't play, in grade school. The guy started it late in high school because he was immigrated over from Haiti. So he's still learning. And if he's this good already, it's like if we could maybe just get a little coaching underneath him. And we need somebody that can run that mic. I think he's been green dot. So to me, the lack of true mics in this draft that are actual studs, that are actually that young, I think Junior Colson fits the bill for that.
Definitely. And the big thing there, missed tackle rate, 4.7%, just absolutely elite there. So love to see some of that this year for sure. Let's see. Deadfish in the chat said, I like the idea of reaching for Colson here at 41, mock linebacker, and that lets Quay move to the will. That's exactly what would happen there. If you wait too long and you don't go with Cedric Gray, Junior Colson, I don't know what that was. Carly, you okay over there? That was a little.
Carly,
oh, so sorry. I thought my mic was muted. That was me opening the door. I was muted. Sorry.
That's all right. You're good. Yeah. So if you don't take Junior Colson, right, and you don't take Cedric Gray, and you don't take Trayvon Wallace, you miss out on a mock. and you have to go with like a Jeremiah Trotter Jr. or one of these smaller linebackers, you may be forced to try to get Quay to play Mike, right? Because he fits that 6'2", 6'3" frame that both the 49ers and the New York Jets have at their Mike position. So just something to kind of keep an eye on there. Moving on to 58, we've got Christian Haynes, Kamari Lassiter.
It'll never happen.
The Christian Haynes one. Yeah, I got
Christian
I'm
Haynes
following.
won't get drafted.
Hey, Jacob analyzes this stuff for a living, guys.
Right.
Right.
We are not the same. So Christian Haynes, Kamari Lassiter, and Chris Jenkins were the three I liked the most from all of our mocks there. So I'll start with you this time, Jacob. Out of Christian Haynes, Kamari Lassiter, and Chris Jenkins, who would your pick be, sir?
Man, I think it's gonna be Christopher Jenkins.
Nice.
I love him a lot too. He has really solid pockets where he's playing really, really well. And like again, kind of like other guys we've talked about, the lowest he gets is like that mid, low 60 range for a few games here and there. Otherwise, he's just consistently playing good football every single year. He's graded out good. The 72.4, the 80.7, the 82.7. The pass rush grade is fine at a 70.5. Run defense grade at 82.3 is ideal for me. And he just seems like can you look at his measurables real quick? Because I want to say that
this is just a screenshot.
Okay. I want to say that is he above 6'2"? Because I thought that there was some sort of weird, the consensus is the Packers don't draft D tackles over or under
until they do, and then we'll go quiet.
Until they do, and that's the thing. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I was like
6'3", 305.
6'3", 305. So he to me, he's got the size. And we've talked about it multiple times that is Kenny Clark going to be re-signed again? Is he going to get extended, or is this one of those other guys that maybe are taking the place for him? I love Carl Brooks. I know you talked about that this morning, Clayton. How we would love if Devontae Wyatt took that step, but right now all he's shown is that he's kind of a pass rush specialist in the interior there. So we need a guy that can be more of that like 3-down, just solid D tackle.
Yeah, M. Smitty in the chat said Jacob is way off base here. He obviously doesn't do this for a living and doesn't know anything. So, laughing emoji. The thing I heard about Chris Jenkins too was, if I understood correctly, he played a lot of two gap. I think they said at Michigan. It seemed like I heard someone say it the other day, and that's why the stats weren't, as inflated as some other guys. But obviously that pass rush win rate at 11%, pretty solid. Run stop rate is just. That's the thing that remember, Tim, we broke down like the top 4 defensive linemen, and he was the one that was second in pass rush, second in run defense. It's like, this is the most well-rounded defensive lineman in the draft. It might not have the highest upside. He might not have the highest measurables, but just one of those guys that plays both the run and the pass really well. But yeah, that would be a solid pick there. What do you think though, Tim? Christian Haynes, Kamari Lassiter, or Chris Jenkins?
Christian Haynes, baby.
I like it.
Brick wall on that offensive line. Let's
Tim just went offense.
Yeah, outside the box, man. Plus, I'm gonna make good old Petey boy over there upset by saying Christian Haynes is gonna get drafted. He's a big boy. I think he'd be a good fit. I think it would give us some depth, which we need on that O-line. That's not to take anything away from your point about defensive line, because Jenkins would be an absolute stud and a huge, huge upgrade for us there, especially in the future. But for me, out of these three, I'm going Christian Haynes.
Yeah, and the big thing here is zone run blocking grade, 89.2.
We do a little bit of zone blocking, don't we?
Just a touch, yeah. So for me, out of these three, Christian Haynes, Kamari Lassiter, and Chris Jenkins, it would be Christian Haynes. Simply because, and I love Chris Jenkins. You guys know I've been very vocal about that. But just the fact that Chris Jenkins, I don't think would just step right into a starting role. Christian Haynes would plug right into right guard, and you're off to the races, right? Let's say you did take JPJ. God, Packers Twitter would lose their mind. But imagine you took JPJ at 25 and then Christian Haynes at 58. And let's say you did get, Tyler Nubin or Junior Colson or Ennis Rakestraw at 41. You literally got you a potential starting center. You got a starting right guard, and you would get anybody in that 41 spot would be a starter, whether it's Rakestraw, Colson, or Nubin. Like, you're talking about adding 3 starters within your first 3 picks. That would be phenomenal, man. Chris Jenkins, again, though, man, you never know. He could come in and, just absolutely smoke everybody's head and take over that interior and be a starting defensive tackle. And you just say, okay, we're going to move on from Kenny. I hope Kenny comes out and lots it up in this 4-3 and we extend him. Like, how cool would it be if we finally unlock Kenny right here? Right? That would be absolutely phenomenal. And Carly, just jump in at anything you got here. You jump in at any point, okay? Don't feel like you have to, but yeah, just know that we're listening if you got anything you want to add to it.
Well, I just wanted to say that I would go for Christian Haynes because, based on my extensive scouting, I believe that men named Christian just are ballers and are going to play better. So let's get as many men named Christian on the team as we can.
I love it. It's a strong name, no doubt about it.
It is. Great name.
All right. I'm a little biased, but that's the way it is. The only one I came up with for number 88 that I really felt overly like, okay, this is my guy, is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. At 80, if we were to get him at 88, run defense grade of 80.4, coverage grade of 82.0, his average depth of run tackle, obviously kind of bad there at 2.2, but overall the PFF grade starting in 2021, 71, 86, 85. I'm telling you, if he was 2 inches taller, that dude would be a first round pick. There's no doubt in my mind that would be the case. So that would be kind of my pick there at 88. If of all the people that we kind of mocked at 88, he's the one that I felt the strongest about. And again, I wanted to key in on the first 3 picks more than anything with this little exercise. So if you guys didn't catch on, what we did there was we did a series of mock drafts to come up with a group of guys that are selected at specific spots in the draft. And then we did almost like a little miniature mock draft of those specific picks. And that's how you can begin to narrow this down. So we're going to try to compile a list, if I can, to where we have like maybe, I don't know, a list of 20, 25 guys from these exercises where we know, okay, these are our guys at 25. These are our guys at 41. These are our guys at 48, 88, so on and so forth. So Reef in the chat said, I'm not going to lie. Add good offensive lineman with Jacobs in the back. Wow. Yeah, that's a great point too, right? Especially if you get like a Christian Haynes there at right guard and just got an awesome run blocking grade. Well, JPJ too. Imagine that inside zone and then running that play action set, right? Not necessarily a boot, but that play action drop back with Jordan Love. You talking about opening up a dagger concept. Oh my goodness, man. So that's going to be really cool to see if Josh Jacobs returns to his 2022 form or not. That's really what's going to be the key to this year, I believe. So, all right. Do you guys got anything else you want to add to that conversation before we move on to the mock draft exercise we're going to do here?
I actually do.
What's up?
So it kind of has to do with, it's just kind of an interesting thing to think about, and you guys might not have answers, but it's something that I'm going to see what. Oh yeah. So Prince said that I'm getting worried Bishop may have moved up and out of the mid to late 3rd round area. My thought is actually kind of this idea that they're watching players or players are moving up and moving around, but really this is all based on just thousands and thousands of people doing thousands of mock drafts, right? Like this isn't like, there's nothing that says that means anything as far as what the teams are considering, right?
Right. No, it's a great point, man. Because like we get lost in all the mock drafts. And when I say we do, it's not that we're expecting, okay, this is how it's going to fall. But you can bet your rear end that teams are kind of keeping an eye on that too, especially with the media mock drafts. There's former players and people, who cover the sport on a regular basis that kind of just roll their eyes at mock drafts. The reality is teams started using mock drafts way back in the day, and that's why they became popular. Not mock drafts from a bunch of fans and a database, obviously, but mock draft from a guy who was going around calling around to teams and going, hey, what are we thinking here? What are we thinking here? And every team in the league, you can go back and read about it. We actually talked about it on here, Jacob. Remember, it was a guy who owned a funeral home or worked at a funeral home. Yeah. And he had all this extra time on his hands. And he was the one who first did the first mock draft, and then it slowly evolved into something huge where these mock drafts were in the draft rooms for just about every team in the league. So it's easy for people to kind of roll their eyes and scoff at it, but it's a real thing, man. It is. And these teams, that's what they're doing right now. They're finishing their board up. Their board is probably set now. Now they're walking through every single scenario. And the best way to do that is to try to guess what your opponents are going to be drafting. But when it comes to Bishop, I told you where I've got him. I've got him outside of the top 100, but I've heard enough people talk about him that I respect now. Daniel Jeremiah, Greg Cosell raved over him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the second round. Like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. He's got that kind of athletic ability. It's just the PFF grades that kind of pull me away from that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I think that's a realistic thing. What's that?
That's actually really funny that she brought that up, because it like shows how the mock draft has kind of evolved over the years. It reminded me of how, like, fantasy football, you guys got to look that up. I can't remember the guy's name. I should. We did a podcast about it, about the history of how fantasy football got started. It's basically the same thing. A guy that was bored at work, and he started collecting like all the stats. So the first original fantasy football, for the first few years, these guys had to comb through newspapers, and you didn't know if you won or lost by the time. It took a couple days till you manually input that stuff, and then it evolved. Where coaches started doing it, players started doing it. ESPN picks it up, NFL Network picks it up in like 19 whatever the hell, or heck it was. And so it just is cool to see how stuff all of a sudden, like, at one point you think it's like a flash in the pan, oh, that'll never work, and then all of a sudden flash forward to like 20 years, and it's like a household $1 million, billion-dollar industry. So it's kind of cool.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's do it. Let's get into the mock draft here. And again, this was a listener that asked us to do this. So don't shoot the message.
This is the Gene Dent draft, correct?
I believe so. Correct.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I think this is going to be a cool exercise. What they asked was, why don't we see what it would look like if we did trade up to the 16 spot? Just how many picks you'd have to give up to get up there, okay? So I went through two scenarios. I don't know if we'll have time to do two mock drafts. I'm not going to use my board, so we should be able to go fairly quick. So using the trade chart, I figured up two different trades. The first trade would be Green Bay giving up the 25th pick, the 88th pick, and the 126th pick for the 16th pick. And basically how we came up with that was the 25th pick is worth 230 points. The 88th pick is worth 47 points. The 126th pick is worth 20 points, equaling 297. That gets us in the ballpark of Seattle's 16th pick, which equals 305 points. Again, none of this is set in stone. You'll see trades the entire draft where people give a little more, they give a little less, right? This is just kind of a little guideline to start on. So we're not saying, I want to say this loud and clear, we are not saying we're advocating for trading up to the 16th spot, okay? We're just saying people are asking what would it take. Let's see what that looks like, okay? So I just want to be on the same page. We are all three, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, we are all for team trade back, right? United Bates, Omer just threw his bag
For
in.
sure.
That's the comment of the night right there. Bates, I owe you a daddy soda, man. Omer just threw his baguette. All right. So here you see we got the trade set up. We're going to force the trade. All right. So we now have the 16th pick. We gave up the 25th, 88th, and 126. It just hurts looking at that.
I don't like that.
I don't like it already. But let's see what it looks like when we get to that pick. Let's go ahead and start the draft here. So you see,
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh boy. Hello.
On Newton a lot, right? But look at Quinyon Mitchell. That's my best corner in the draft right there. This is the first mock draft I've done this offseason where Quinyon Mitchell is available. You've also got Latu there. You got Cooper DeJean there. You got Jerzon Newton there. Byron Murphy sitting there. Tackle J.C. Latham. Cornerback Nate Wiggins. Tackle Amarius Mims. Kool-Aid McKinstry. See, I see these names, and you know what I immediately think, guys? Let's trade back.
Trade back.
So here we are. Let's go around the horn one time here. Tim, I'll start with you. Who would your pick be here? I can look at all positions if you need to go off this top five here, bud.
I'm taking Mitchell or Newton.
Mitchell or Newton. Got it. Quinyon Mitchell's average draft position is 14.9. Newton's is 22.6. That would suggest the public thinks Quinyon Mitchell is obviously more valuable than Jerzon Newton. Again, though, PFF has him ranked 8th. They have Cooper DeJean ranked 9th and Quinyon Mitchell ranked 10th. Jacob, who would your pick be here?
Quinyon Mitchell. Yeah, I'd run that in 100%.
I would too, man. Carly, do you disagree? Is there one you would rather have here, or would it be Quinyon Mitchell as well?
100% Quinyon Mitchell. His grades, his tackling, his everything. Quinyon Mitchell all the way.
I agree. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and take Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. And I'm going to keep up with these so we know what we drafted. All right, so now we are picking in the 41 spot. That did not change. That looks like, like everybody got these two. So Yeah, there you go. The only reason to trade up would be that. So maybe they worked that trade out in advance with Seattle, right? Maybe that's what the phone call was about in the reports. The reports could be BS too. It could be a lie, a smoke screen, whatever you want to call it. But what if they did call and then they get to the 15 spot and Quinyon Mitchell's still on the board? They call them back up and go, hey, you still want to do that trade? Awesome. Then they got their guy. If Quinyon Mitchell is taken and that's not their guy, then you just stick and pick, right? And if they call you, say, nah, our guy's gone, right? No hard feelings. So
what do you think about this? Coach Lynn saying trade back now. Because look at that, dude. That's another group of guys right there where any one of them might be like Chris Braswell. I mean,
absolutely.
Samistrill, Frazier, Wilson, Newbin. Are you kidding me?
I'd be all about trading back now too, but that would kind of ruin this exercise.
Right. You know I'm just saying, for instance.
I'm with you. There's several guys there, right? So let's go around the horn. I'll start with you this time, Jacob. Best available for those of you listening on the pod. Tyler Newbin at 26, Peyton Wilson, linebacker at 27, center Zach Frazier at 32, Mike Sainristil, cornerback at 36, tackle Jordan Morgan at 40, Chris Braswell, edge at 41. I can look at any position here, Jacob. What are you thinking?
For those of you listening on the pod, so good. Honestly, right now, it'd be between Tyler Newbin and Zach Frazier. Peyton Wilson is basically, when you read Dane Brugler's, what is it called? The draft monster or whatever the heck it's called. The best, in my opinion, like I said, just profile of each. He takes a lot of time, dives deep. Peyton Wilson has so many injury issues that it is, I mean, like I'm talking 2 knee injuries, multiple shoulder injuries. The guy sat out for most of last spring training. I mean, he is just, and he's older. He's 24. I think I go for sure Newbin or Frazier if you want to make sure that offensive line gets bolstered right away. Otherwise, but I think I'm leaning Newbin here.
All right, you're going Newbin. What about you, Tim?
The only reason I'm hesitant to go with Frazier here is because I'm holding on to hope that my boy Cedric Von Pran is going to be on the board for us later if we get a center. So, with that being said, I'm going with your boy Tyler Newbin. Yeah,
it looks like you're going to have 2 more shots to get Cedric Von Pran. His average draft position is 90.3. We also have the 58th pick and we got the 91st. Yeah, so
I think we might be able to get him at 91. Fingers crossed. But that would be the only reason I wouldn't take Frazier. My gut tells me to take Frazier here, but I'm with you. I like Newbin.
Yeah. What about you, Carly?
I like Newbin, but I'd rather take Frazier.
Gotcha. I like it. So that's another name we probably need to add to our list that we like is Zach Frazier. See what I'm saying? When these names keep popping up, let's add them to the list.
Can you dive into those grades real quick just so we can see? Because if I'm not mistaken, he graded out great. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, 77, 80, and 77. So you're kind of seeing 77 as the floor. Zone grade 68.8, pass block grade pretty decent. Yeah, not bad. Let me show you my guy though, real quick, if you don't mind. I think he's still wait. No, that was Zach Frazier, right? Let me think here. There was someone I was looking at the other day. Yeah, Zach Frazier. Yeah, he was the one for sure. No, Bo Limmer. Look at Bo Limmer. Woo! Zone grade 72.4. It's just that pass set grade kind of rough there, right? So I think I have Bo Limmer a little higher than Cedric Von Pran, but Cedric Von Pran playing for Georgia, man, you know he was coached up, dude. You know he was coached up. So
yeah.
All
also,
right. So
did you notice that Bo Limmer, he played his first 2 years the whole year at right guard too? So that could be a great addition. Guy that could be interchangeable.
Absolutely. I'm going to take a look at linebacker. Somebody in the chat asked us to look at linebackers. So obviously Peyton Wilson, according to PFF, is the best player here at the linebacker position at 27 rank. I disagree with that. Adrian Cooper is 62nd. He would be the second best. And then you got Junior Colson. Now, Junior Colson's average draft position is 69.2. We're going to be picking again at 58. So you're basically going to be able to pick, if everything falls the way you expect it to, you'll be able to pick with the 58th pick between Edgerrin Cooper, Junior Colson, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at the linebacker position. So I'm with you guys. Surprise, surprise. My pick right here would definitely be Tyler Newbin. So,
hello, Newbin.
Tyler Newbin is a Green Bay Packer. So we've taken cornerback, outside corner, and we've taken safety. All right. So here we are on the clock at the 58th pick. The best prospects available are tight end Jatavian Sanders, Jermaine Burton, wide receiver out of Alabama, wide receiver Keon Coleman out of Florida State, Halfback Jonathan Brooks coming off that ACL out of Texas. Kyron Amagaji, tackle out of Yale. And then edge defender Marshawn Nealon. So sitting at 58. What positions would y'all like to look at here?
I mean, I know what I would pick if it's me.
What's that?
I'd go Amagaji for sure.
Oh, okay. So let's put offensive tackle in here. Tim, is there a position you'd like to see?
Yeah, linebacker again.
All right. Carly, is there a position you'd like to see?
I was wanting to see O-line, so offensive tackle works.
Okay, and we haven't taken an interior offensive line.
Pull
yet,
up interior.
No, we didn't.
Okay, so there we go. Glad we did that because there's our boy Christian Haynes, right?
Well, hello there, Christian.
So if you go off of these positions that we just set up here, the order would be Kyron Amagaji, offensive tackle at the 57 spot. You'd have Edgerrin Cooper at the 62 spot, linebacker out of Texas A&M. Guard Christian Haynes at 64. Linebacker Junior Colson at 66. Pretty safe to say that when we pick at 91, all of these guys will be gone. The only one there's a slight chance to still be there would be Jeremiah Trotter Jr., where his average draft position is 88th. So, Jacob, is your pick Kyron Amagaji? Is that right?
No, I'm going to change it. I'd go Christian Haynes here, honestly. Can you pull up Amagaji's grades real quick? I do love Christian Haynes. I didn't realize we were that close to being able to get him. I mean, he has shown great improvement, and he shows. Look, he only had 4 starts last year. He's playing at Yale.
It's kind of tough, ain't it?
I go Christian Haynes over him.
I agree. If you look at my big board too, Amagaji, I think, is kind of low on my board, or at least lower. I've got him in the 50 spot, and I've got Christian Haynes in the – where is he at? I know he's pretty high here. The 27 spot. So just to give you a little hint, the direction I'm going in right here if we don't go linebacker. So, Tim, what do you think, buddy? He went Christian Haynes. Jacob did. Who would you go with here, Bo?
I really want Junior Colson to be a Packer. Ooh. I really do. So my heart is telling me to take Junior Colson, but I agree with Jacob, Christian Haynes.
Oh,
yeah. Christian Haynes is hands down, according to my board, the better prospect, right? But you know you're missing out on Junior Colson. It makes it tough. But we got 2 votes for Christian Haynes. Carly, who would your pick be here?
I told you guys, anytime someone's named Christian, they're going to be great. So let's go with him.
All right. So Junior Colson has been overruled. He can block, Emilio. Glad he's here in spirit. So we're going to go Christian Haynes right here. There's no chance he'll be there at 91, so we're going to go interior. We'll just call him a right guard. Let's call it what it is here. Christian Haynes at right guard. All right, so now we're at the 91st pick. Look who's sitting there.
Oh, just draft him. Just draft him. That'll be the quickest card run ever.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, so
you want to make me feel better about not getting Junior Colson? Draft Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
I was going to say, for those of you listening on the pod, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is who they're raving over. So, Jacob, you agree, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.?
Yeah, run that sucker in.
All right, Carly, what do you think?
Let's go.
All right, I ain't going to argue with you.
Possum in a dumpster.
So now, though, that does kind of change things because you'll most likely look at playing Quay at mock and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at will, right? For what it's worth, I still think it's a great pick. I really do. So,
well, we could have took Junior Colson.
So now we're down to 169. Pick 169. I don't like having to wait that long, boys. That's kind of tough. But what positions do we want to see here, guys? We took a cornerback, a safety, a right guard, and a linebacker.
Center.
Center.
Interior O-line. Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
We got some options.
Hunter Norzad. Who else?
Tanner
from Wisconsin.
McMahon's not bad.
Yeah, my guy's gone. Long gone.
What other positions do you think we should add to this? We still haven't taken a tackle either, right?
We have not. Maybe check out edge, see who's there too.
All right, let's add edge.
Corner.
Ooh, I like Jalen Sundell right there. I also like McLaughlin.
At corner, you got Dwight McLaughlin as the best prospect according to PFF. Then you got Nehemiah Pritchett, cornerback out of Auburn at 174. Then you got tackle Ladarius Henderson at 176, Jalen Sundell at 177, Braden McGregor edge at 178.
Chat's looking for running backs.
Right. Okay, let's take a peek. I like that. I think that's a good idea.
Ooh,
So-
we got Mr. Quagmire himself ready to go.
Mr. Creeper, Dylan Quagmire.
Giggity.
Yeah. We need that sound bot. We got to get that drop for sure. Man, I'm not liking these. Let's see.
I like
Where Isaiah
Jalen
Davis?
Sundell, I do.
There's Frank Gore Jr. Isaiah Davis has quickly become one of my draft crushes, man.
Oof,
Like, this dude is just my
that's
goodness.
unreal.
Yeah, it really is, man. 6'1", 220, those kind of numbers. It's just wild. He's 22 years old. If he does fall that far to where he's potentially be taken as the 227th pick, oh my goodness, sign me up.
Might take him if he's on the board at 219.
This is going to be a tough pick here. What are we thinking here, guys? I'll start with you, Jacob. I'll put the pressure on you.
I personally like Jalen Sundell. If you want to pull him up, Coach, I think
Coach.
liked him too. Yeah, he just
Yeah, Got
and
better
he has-
every year, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's got some solid pass blocking, really good run blocking, and equally decent at zone and gap. And his true pass set grade is I think great. And then look at what he played. If you can scroll down there, he's a true left tackle for 2023. But guess what else he done?
Played a little center.
Played a little center.
Got one snap in at right tackle too. Somebody
he played well at center. So
somebody had to go change their pants, so he played one snap there at right tackle. You know what I'm saying? Just to fill in the pinch there. Those are solid grades. I can't disagree with that pick there, Jacob. What do you think, Tim? How you feeling here?
Yeah, I mean, he's making a strong case there for Sundell, especially if we're going to go O-line. I do like McLaughlin out of Arkansas, but
too.
I feel like,
Look at him grades.
yeah,
Golly.
well, there's a guy you might want to look at.
69, 77, then 91 last year. Holy cow. Only 382 snaps, but still just solid across the board. Zone grade 70.4, man grade 80.3. God, that is this solid. Just coverage grade was absolutely pegged out at 91.8.
Yeah, I like this McLaughlin for sure, but Jacob makes a good case though for Sundell, especially the ability to play a couple different spots on that line gives him a little more value to me.
Yeah, and we also already took a cornerback too. We have not taken a tackle, right? So
Exactly.
what do you think, Carly?
I agree with the Sundell. I didn't actually know anything about him, but yeah, Jacob makes a good case and it makes sense.
Good deal. Y'all bear with me just a second. I want to see if he's on my board. If he isn't, I got to add him. Sundell, he is not. Looky there. This just another reason to do these exercises. I've added so many prospects that we've come across because you guys know when we started this, I said I don't go outside of the top 100. Then I stretch it to the 150. Now I'm like almost to 300 prospects on the board. So again, Jalen Sundell, I've got to work him up tonight.
What about Tanner? Is he pretty much strictly just a center?
Bortolini.
Yeah.
I think he played some other positions, didn't he, Jacob? Let me see here.
I
Where's he
can't
at?
honestly remember. I thought that he was predominantly a center, but I think he might have already gotten taken. Oh no, he ain't. There he is.
Tanner Bortolini. That's what I didn't
Yeah,
like how he's regressed. Like 87 in 2021, then he went down to a 74 in 2022, then a 65.
It's just rough. But also look at how they played him. They didn't give him any chance to be at one position.
That's
See,
a good
look at that
point.
center.
Right tackle, then they moved him to left guard and right guard, and then started playing him a little bit at center, and then moved him completely to center last year.
Maybe he can be long snapper.
Well, it's funny you say that, Tim, because I was just getting ready to say one of the other knocks on him is he couldn't snap out of the shotgun.
Oh man.
I remember hearing that on the pod. So,
Never mind. And we're picking where are we at right now? One something. What pick are we on?
we're at 169.
Yeah, that's a reach for Tanner
Yeah, for sure.
here. So yeah, I would go McLaughlin or Sundell here.
All right, let's go Sundell here. So we're going offensive tackle, Jalen Sundell from North Dakota State. So, all right, moving right along here, pick 202. Best players available: wide receiver DeCorian Clark, center Hunter Norzad, tackle Nathan Thomas, tackle Nathan Driscoll, guard Javian Cohen, halfback Frank Gore Jr., tackle Caden Wallace, linebacker Tyron Hopper. A couple of these guys have visited with the Packers, if I remember correctly, Hunter Norzad and Tyron Hopper.
Yep.
Jace McClellan, halfback out of Alabama. What positions do y'all want to see?
I'd like either Frank Gore Jr. here or my man Omar Brown, but that's just me.
Okay, Omar Brown is a safety, correct?
Yeah, he played some slot as well, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Trey.
Tim, is there any positions you'd like to see? Again, we've taken cornerback, safety, right guard, linebacker, and offensive tackle.
I would say edge, maybe. Can we take a peek at edge?
Absolutely. The top edge that pops up is a little bit of a reach. It would be Caleb Duke out of Kansas State, 78, 68, 74. Not horrible, but a little bit of a reach.
Isn't there one more up top? Scroll up a little bit. I'm sorry. Nope, you're right.
Nope. That's it.
Yeah, that edge room falls off quick, doesn't it?
It really does, man. So if Frank Gore Jr., 77, 91, 88, really good zone grade of 89.6, elusive rating of 110.0, rushing grade of 90.3, yards after contact 3.6. But then you got Isaiah Davis as well. 86, 89, 94, zone grade of 91.2, a rushing grade of 96.8. Just wild. If I had to choose between Isaiah Davis and Frank Gore Jr., I think I'm going Isaiah Davis. His average draft position is 226.4. We do have the 219th pick after this 202. So if you'd have to go Frank Gore Jr. now, or you could try to bank on getting Isaiah Davis here in a minute. I would vote to wait on Isaiah Davis, but then you got to decide who's your pick. Now, Omar Brown, 83, 64, 82. Pretty solid. Played 434 snaps in the slot.
That's what's really intriguing about him is played a lot of slot. He's another contingency plan for Keyshawn there at the slot. That's why I like Omar Brown.
Run defense grade of 74.3, coverage grade of 84.5. So you got a backup safety and you got a backup slot defender. I think that would be my pick here, and then go Isaiah Davis next. Carly, what do you think here? Is there any positions you want to see? Is there anybody that you're thinking right here?
I really like what you guys said about Omar Brown, especially because, I mean, with Keyshawn playing in the slot and doing, potentially a lot more returns, and the potential for injury is still there, I would love to have a backup for him.
Got it. All right.
Trey Taylor's worth taking a peek at, too, out of Air Force, if we're going to look at safety.
75, 80, 83 with a coverage grade of 89. The average depth of tackle is a little weak at 4.8. Run defense grade is 72.7. That's a solid pick there too. I think that's what it comes down to. Omar Brown or Trey Taylor. Omar Brown out of Nebraska. Let's look at the size on these two guys. 6'1", 200 for Omar Brown. Trey Taylor is 6', 210. So I'm leaning toward Omar Brown here. Let's go around the horn with it. Jacob, who's your pick here, bub? We may have lost Jacob.
He says Omar Brown.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Tim. Tim, you good with Omar Brown?
Yeah, me and Jacob are taking Omar Brown here.
All right, what about you, Carly?
I go Brown.
Yep, Omar Brown.
All right, there we go. So we're going to get us a safety /
No, I go Brown.
Oh, there he is. Jacob's back. All right.
All right. So now, if Isaiah Davis is there at 219, he is. Is anyone opposed to taking Isaiah Davis here at 219?
Run that in.
Run that card.
The other one, though, real quick. Can you just look at Jaden Sheridan?
Jaden Sheridan.
He was
75, 83, 81. That's solid, man. That's really solid.
It's Monmouth, but,
Right, yeah. All right, so we're going to go halfback Isaiah Davis here out of South Dakota State. Love that kid. So we got us a running back. Again, 6'1", pretty decent size there too.
Ooh.
All right, now at pick 245, what do we want to see here, guys? We have taken cornerback, safety, right guard, linebacker, offensive tackle, safety / slot, and running back. We'll take a look at the linebacker. Tim, is there a position you want to see, bub?
Corner. See if anyone's hanging around.
Hanging around at corner. Man, linebackers are dominating right here.
Dallas Gant's on the board.
Yeah. Any position you want to see, Carly?
I think no. I'm like looking at the linebackers here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe tight end, Clayton. We had tight end on the radar late rounds. Maybe someone's hanging around.
There's Jared Wiley. right, out of TCU. Just a little bit of a reach right now, but still falling in to that. You got Isaac Rex, absolute booty cheeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
let's
me,
go.
I think it's real simple. Let's look at linebacker. 76, 61, and 81 for Darius Mousau out of UCLA. He is 6'1", 230. Then you got Trayvon Wallace out of Kentucky. The PFF grades are horrible. He's real low on my board. But I'm telling you, man, 33rd team is all over him. They love
him as like the third ranked linebacker, don't they?
Absolutely, man. 6'2", 241. They've got him as the third-ranked mock linebacker in the draft. And then you got Dallas Gant, who's just PFF off the charts. 45, 80, 87. He is 6'3", 230. Holy cow. Again, they'll play for Toledo. That would be Quinyon Mitchell's teammate there. Kind of make a little bit of sense. I think I'm leaning toward Dallas Gant here, boys. What do y'all think?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but can we take a peek at wide receiver?
Yeah, absolutely.
Timothy. You traitor. Oh, Hayden Hatton. That's my guy, though. Okay.
Golly, Hayden Hatton played for, I don't even know what school that is. Idaho Vandals. His PFF grade 70, 91, 90.5. And his size 6'2", 205. Yeah, that would be a solid wide receiver pick, although we're picking at 245. Yeah, that would be right in this range if you wanted to go that.
Could we look at Jarius Monroe real quick? Because I think Tim might appreciate him.
Jarius Monroe, 77, 68, 81 cornerback out of Tulane. They got the coolest damn mascot in the world. Look at that thing right there, man. You kidding me? I don't even know what that is.
Jacob, how do you find these guys? You have always come up with these just like awesome guys late. Where do you find them?
Because I'm cheap, and I've told you guys this. I look for as many late round guys that I can get because I want to have a more bang for my buck. I'm a cheap guy.
Yeah, Monroe looks good. 6'2", 205. Is he a boundary guy?
Let's take a quick gander. Yeah, boundary 660 snaps on the edge there, on the outside. That's a solid pick there, man. Run defense grade solid. Zone coverage grade 82.4. It's just when you think of outside corners, you're going to have Jair, Quinyon Mitchell, right? You got Eric Stokes, which he'll probably be gone next year. You've got Corey Ballantyne, who will probably be gone next year if he has a decent year. Same thing with Carrington Ballantyne. So you kind of replacing those guys before they're gone, really. I don't not like that. So it looks like the top choices here would be Jarius Monroe. It's between Jarius Monroe, Hayden Hatton, or Dallas Gant. Let's see here. Hold up a minute. 255. Hayden Hatton. Yeah, he'll probably be gone. Yeah, those guys will be gone. We'll have to get them now if we want to go.
Can you click on Easton Gibbs, too? Somebody told me to check him out.
Who's that? Easton Gibbs.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, 68, 72, 78. He's a linebacker, 6'2", 235. Good size there.
I like Jordan McGee if we're going to go linebacker here.
Ooh.
Do you really? Holy cow. Look at this. 65, 74, 87.
And he's more of a will, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, big size, too. 6'3", 225. Put 10 pounds on him. Let's go. All right, so let's go around the horn here. We're hung up on the next to last pick. I love it. Jacob or Tim, who's your pick here, man? Jordan McGee?
Yeah, I'm going to go with McGee.
All right. Jacob, who are you thinking?
I got to go with my boy Dallas Gant.
All right. Carly, you're going to be the tiebreaker here unless you got somebody else you like.
I like Ulofoshio.
Here we go. Let's take Jacob's corner instead.
Yeah.
Guess I'm going to be the tiebreaker here. If I had to choose between Dallas Gant and Jordan McGee.
Oh, I know the answer to this.
45, 80, 87, right? Run defense grade of 87.2, missed tackle rate of only 6.3% for Dallas Gant. What's the missed tackle rate for Jordan McGee? 14.9. Yep, I'm going to go Dallas Gant here, boys. Sorry, Tim.
That's all right.
All right, linebacker Dallas Gant.
Now, talking about, I don't think that realistically Trayvon Wallace is going to be there, but I think he probably should because I don't understand the hype. We talked about that, but anyways.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I don't see him being there either. Let's not include linebacker this time. We were just looking at cornerback, right? Jarius Monroe is still there. All right. So what was the other position we look at? Wide receiver, wasn't that it? There's Hayden Hatton. He's still there.
Can you throw in a tight end just for hoops and giggles?
Yeah, let's do it. Tight end, Jared Wiley.
Somebody
Same
asked about
tight ends that were there.
there's an Arizona State tight end. I can't remember his name, but he graded out really well, and I was wondering if he was still available. No,
It doesn't look like it.
What about Florida State? Jaheim Bell.
no, he
Tight
gone.
end? He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
He gone.
I think for me right here, it comes down to
Hayden Hatton, maybe.
Jarius Monroe or Hayden Hatton, and I think I would have to go Jarius Monroe because
Yeah.
there's no more room in that wide receiver.
Let's go. Give me another corner, Clayton.
All right, you like it, Tim?
Yeah. Fired
Carly?
up over here.
Unless you pick Hayden Hatton too, I believe it's a runaway here. You're going to be the tiebreaker. I think Jacob, you're saying Hayden Hatton, right?
I would just like to add a little more. I honestly, if I'm logical, Monroe would be the better pick.
When the hell did you become logical? I need to know that. Carly, you all right with it, Carly?
He thought about all his favorite receivers towards the bottom of that.
I
depth
did.
chart.
I really did.
Yep,
I'm
he
thinking
thought
about Bo
about
Melton
Bo
and
Melton and
Malik
and
Heath, dude.
Grant DeBose, Malik Heath. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So let's go corner.
All right, we're going Jarius Monroe.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we got us another corner. I love it. I actually like it. That worked out.
Not mad at this draft.
Yeah, and again, that's what it looks like when you trade up to 16 by giving up a third-round pick and a fourth-round pick to get up to 16 along with your 25th pick. So let me get a
I do
screen
think it's
up of
funny
this.
that we talked about doing this to try and get a Mike linebacker, and then we went corner, safety, guard.
Yeah. Look at that grade, though, A-. Holy
I
cow.
think Dallas Gant's a Mike, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it makes
So we
sense
did
because
get
he was
one.
like 6'2", 6'3", so yeah. So there
You
you
guys,
go.
I like what Ron said. Ron said trading up didn't really hurt this draft, in my opinion.
It didn't. It really didn't. And you got the best corner in the draft. See, this is what I'm talking about. We were all coming in this going, we're going to show y'all why we shouldn't trade up. And now we're going, man, this worked out really well.
Y'all better send this to Goody.
Yeah.
Say, Goody, we figured it out.
He's got my number blocked, so I can't. Nah,
Who
so
would have thought that the Packers would have double dipped at Toledo?
right. Hey, that's the way it goes, man. And then you got Isaiah Davis, who was a former teammate, I'm sure, of Tucker Kraft, right? At South Dakota State. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like it, man. Joseph in the chat approves. So for those of you on the pod, the draft went at the 16 pick, cornerback Quinyon Mitchell. At 41, we went safety Tyler Nubin. Surprise, surprise. At 58, we went guard Christian Haynes. At 91, we went linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr. At 169, we went tackle Jalen Sundell. At 202, we went safety Omar Brown, who can also play the slot. At 219, we went halfback Isaiah Davis, the top-graded running back in all of college football. 245, we went linebacker Dallas Gant. And then at 255, we went cornerback Jarius Monroe. We got us an A- on that draft there. So I'm digging it. I am digging it. So there we go. That was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed that. Carly, do you got a surprise for us? I seen the private chat. Is that still available or not?
I do. If you're up for it.
All right, I'm going to put you on solo cam. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Let me get more of a light here. Hopefully it's bright enough. All
Get
right.
ready, guys.
I don't know what's about to happen. What's going to happen?
Oh, wait.
All right.
You're going to love this.
All right, hang on just a second,
lying
guys.
about that, were you? Holy moly.
No, I really wasn't lying about it. I got to make sure you guys can see it, though.
Check him out. Let's go. What's his tackle grade? I need to know his tackle grade. Or is it a she?
It's a she. Oh, she is not liking that camera. Look at her. Look at you. She's like, I'm going to go for your jugular.
What?
Is that what they do? Carly, do they go after the jugular?
No, they go for little birds and they like bite and they separate their vertebra at the back of the neck.
Oh, sure.
All right, that sounds pretty peaceful. Good deal.
Right.
Yeah, it's quick, you know.
It's quick. I love it.
That is
All right.
awesome. I'm not going to
Awesome.
lie.
What
Carly
is it?
Ray just keeps getting cooler and cooler. It's,
I'm telling
You're close
you.
enough. You could go out hunting with us this spring if you wanted.
let's go. I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little interlude.
Joseph said, "Is that a bird inside? Nightmare fuel for me." You imagine waking up in the middle of the night and that thing sitting on your chest.
Just staring at you.
She does land on my head sometimes, actually. Sometimes when I'm training her, she will just decide she wants a higher perch and sit on my head. My red tail hawks would not allowed to do that. But this is a kestrel, so she's pretty small and she cannot draw blood as easily as the strong big ones. So
All right. Last comment of the night. We're at the hour mark. Doug says, with all due respect, I'm done with the Nubin love. Played in a second-rate league. The Big Ten West was a joke. Hey, Doug, let me tell you something, sir. It's hard to argue with that logic because that is a true fact right there at the Big Ten West. But what do you guys think about that comment there with Nubin? If we were to pull it up again and again, just to kind of look at what he did, let's see if we can pick out the toughest opponents they played.
Yeah, Michigan, not great.
Yeah, Michigan, just a 61.1. Iowa obviously had a good defense, but they had booty cheeks on offense most of the time, right? I don't know how good Michigan State was. Ohio State, 70.6. That's pretty decent against the top program, right? Other than that, though, I mean, you make a good point, Doug. You do, man. So, yeah. I understand, man. He says, thanks for listening, Clayton. I'm just not a fan. You're not the only one either, you know? Again, I feel like I'm kind of I know that Jacob and Tim are okay with Nubin at a certain pick, but they're definitely not as big a fan as I am. Would you guys agree with that? Like I'm
yeah, there's a few I like a little better.
Yeah,
I'm more pro Bullard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Good deal. Appreciate the comment there, though, Doug, man. Hey, listen, we welcome differing opinions. The only thing we don't welcome is when people do it in a rude way. And sometimes it's, oh, well, if you don't agree with them, they're going to kick you out. No, if you act like a jackass, we'll kick you out. We're okay with having a conversation about, you know, hey, I like this guy better than that, or pointing that out, man. It's a good thing to put in the notes there that he did play in a weaker opponent.
Totally valid point there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All righty then. Joseph says, I wouldn't have taken him that high. I'm assuming he's talking about Nubin. That's the issue, Joseph, is like my board, it justifies taking him at 41, but if you don't take him at 41, you pretty much don't get it. Yeah, so it's like you're almost forced to reach there, right? Like what Ben says here, man, that would be a great scenario if Nubin fell to 58. That would be perfect. It just never happens, at least in the mocks. Watch him fall out of the top 100 come draft night. You know what I mean? You just never
either
know.
that or not even make it to 25, you know, the 24, 25 range.
Right. I've got him in the 32 spot. So, and again, that's mainly because of how high he was before the combine. You know, again, I didn't allow the combine to affect my board. He graded out as the 120th best safety in 2022, the 10th highest graded safety in 2023. The consensus big board had him in the 43 spot, and then the 33rd team had him at 23. I'm eager to see where Daniel Jeremiah puts him because to the best of my knowledge, he is not in Daniel Jeremiah's top 50. So once I get that information, it may drop him down significantly. That's the only thing I'm waiting on there, so to put into the board. But, yeah, so good stuff. And this was fun, dude. I'm glad we did this. We had two keyed up. The next one we were going to do was trade number 2. We were going to trade the 25th and the 58th pick for the 16th pick and pick 118. So we get a little bit back there, but we're giving up 58. I think I like the scenario of 25, 88, and 126 for the 16th pick better anyway. So this worked out good. So, all right, go around the horn here. What is this right here? Ben Holden says, what was Nick Collins' ranking compared to the draft? That's a great question. It was so long ago. I don't even know if they had the consensus big board back then, right? I remember watching his very first game. I was at Lambeau for his very first game. And I remember the opening defensive series. I remember looking at Mandy and going, damn, 36 is fast. Like, I told her, I'm like, he came from a smaller school, Bethune-Cookman College, which it's funny we're talking about Tyler Nubin not playing anybody. Nick Collins played at Bethune-Cookman. But I remember I was like, you know, not many people knew about him. But you could just tell, in my opinion, watching that defense, he was the fastest player on the field on defense his rookie year, very first game of the season. I want to say it was the Browns we played. I could be wrong. I may be getting that mixed up. I think it was the Cleveland Browns we were playing. But if that was that game, that's also the game I believe that Brett Favre went over 50,000 yards passing to. I was in the house for that. I got to see some pretty cool stuff at Lambeau. Been really fortunate with that. But round the horn, Jacob. Anything else, Bob?
No, man. I mean, that was a good exercise. I like that. I think, like you talked about, we've made it a point that we're not just doing mock drafts just to get clicks and, who's the mock draft? I like the way we do it is we do a mock draft, but then we diagnose maybe 5 or 10 players each pick, somewhere around, maybe 3 to 5 players realistically, because we want to. That's the best way, in my opinion, that I learn is when it's visual, it's interactive, you're reading stuff as well. You start looking at guys like that's Carly asked how I find these guys because I've done a million mock drafts where I just wake up in the middle of the night. I really do at 3 a.m. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to do a mock draft. And then randomly my brain's working different at that time of night. So like, I'll just start clicking on players and I'm like, wow, nobody's talking about this guy. Why is that not a thing? And then you start, diving deeper. It has really been awesome to really embrace the off season. Cause I remember when I was a kid, I hated when the football season ended, I got like actually depressed because I thought there's no more football. There's nothing I can do. And now it's just, dude, it's so, we haven't even really touched any history segments almost in a year.
I know.
Because we've got, once you actually put your ear to the ground, there is content there. That's the beauty of the world nowadays is that you can get content. So
yep,
I'm just happy. It's been fun.
Yep. Tim, you got anything else, Bob?
Yeah, I'm with Bates here in the chat. If it weren't for mock drafts, I wouldn't have any idea who most of these players are. I enjoy learning. That's
Same.
me to the T. I have never been a big college football guy. Kind of watch in passing, but man, let me tell you, I've seen more college football tape this year than I have in the last 40 of my entire life. So, I mean, this is just a great experience and it's cool. You develop your draft crushes or your favorites. You see guys that jump out on film to you. You see guys when you look at PFF or you look at some of these different aggregators that'll give you stats and things to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot about these guys. So that's all I got to say, man. I'm just happy to be here along for the ride. This has been great. I can't wait for draft night, man. It's coming right around the corner.
I love how we all kind of make each other better too. Like Jacob with some of these late round gems,
Yeah.
It's like I'm adding more people to the board because we're finding them now. And Tim, same thing with your love for defense. It's really like I find myself kind of neglecting defense sometimes. And the fact that you're always pointing out, like you said, Rakestraw. I wasn't big on Rakestraw. And the closer we get to the draft, I'm like, this dude was slipping under the radar for me. If you hadn't been trumpeting for him, I don't know if I would even be – he'd just be another name on the list, right? So kind of cool. Carly, you got anything?
Yeah. Jacob, what was the draft guide you mentioned that you really liked?
I believe it's called Dane Brugler's The Beast out of the Atlantic. I think that you have to be a subscriber if you want to download it. The legal
a subscriber to The Athletic, right?
To the yeah, I believe so.
I think it's just $1, I believe.
The Beast. Yeah, it's nothing crazy at all, but it is. I mean, I think it's the most extensive. I think even Ryan talked about it on his pod. He said, I can't finalize any of my boards until I see what Dane Brugler says. I think it's kind of how Clayton trusts Daniel Jeremiah and who's the other guy that you always Greg Cosell. And I think it's just kind of like certain people have started to figure out that this guy, he does such a deep dive. Like he dives more into like their personal lives, which I kind of like. It's sometimes it's almost a little aggressive. Ryan will read out sometime and be like, oh, he did this red shirt and played sophomore baseball. His girlfriend died right before the draft. And you're like, oh Lord. And but it really does. Cause he dives so deep into it that he wants to know what's happening in those gentlemen's lives.
Yeah.
Cause that's a big, we've talked about how many players that maybe had warning signs of certain things that were going on because off the field issues, and that has to be, it sucks, but it has to be taken into effect when you're going to be drafting. GMs aren't going to spend a multi-million-dollar investment on a guy without knowing everything about him. We've watched draft day. Nobody went to Bo Callahan's birthday party. All right.
It matters.
Carly, have you watched draft day yet?
I watched a little bit of it last year.
What do you mean a little bit of it?
You know what she means, Jacob. She couldn't get through it.
You didn't like it?
Wait, do you mean like watch the draft?
No, the movie draft day.
Oh, I've never even heard of it.
What?
Sorry.
Get her out of the show.
Carly, let me give you a
I
preview.
know. I'm a total nerd. Yeah, I don't know these things. Sorry.
The only people that like the movie Draft Day are draft nerds like us. Everyone gave it a bad review other than us. We're like, this is great. So it's horrible. It's a horrible movie. Let's be honest. We love it, but it's a horrible movie.
It's a bad good movie. It's a
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
All right. We're out of here.
Wow.
Last thing we want to hit on real quick. Jordan Love put this out on Instagram. I thought this was really cool. If we can see what he said at the bottom, it's cut off. All he said at the bottom was on the caption, he said, I miss this.
Aw.
So I'm fired up for this coming season, man. Jordan Love, it's my quarterback. Jordan Love is all out, no doubt. Another thing I just realized too, who did Christian Watson play for in college?
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State. Jalen Sundell, North Dakota State. Just saying. So little pipeline there, maybe. You know, we'll see. All right. We are out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow morning for Good Morning Lambeau. So appreciate, like I said, everybody in the chat. You guys and gals were awesome in here. Thanks to Carly. Thanks to Jacob. Thanks to Tim for joining me. This was a lot of fun. We will see you tomorrow morning. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go, Pack, go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.